Hi, second graders. Happy Friday. Today's actually Good Friday, and normally this wouldn't be a school day. I just wanted to finish up the second half of the chapter that I had started yesterday. Remember, it was a really long chapter, so I decided to just read the first half of it yesterday, and then I said I'd do the second half today. Also, just a reminder, next week is April break. I know that sounds a little weird because it feels like, we've been out on a break from school. But next week there won't be any, school assignments or projects to be doing. So just enjoy the week. Hopefully you can keep reading though, but just enjoy the week off. And then on Monday, April 20th, which is the Monday after April break, all of our assignments or our learning activities will be in Seesaw, which will be kind of fun. So everything will be in that one spot. And then, of course, this Sunday is Easter. I found some Easter decor from around my house. I borrowed my daughter's little Peep stuffed animal to put out just because Sunday is Easter. So I hope all of you have a great Easter on Sunday. All right, so I'll finish chapter 11. Chapter 11 was called Journey to Dream Country. And when we left off, something not so great was happening to the BFG and Sophie. Remember, they were traveling to Dream Country for the BFG to gather up some dreams. He had Sophie in his pocket, and as he went out, he was trying to avoid the other giants, but they ended up kind of grabbing him and tossing him back and forth. And of course, Sophie was in his pocket the whole time, which wasn't good. Okay, let's see where we left off. At last, the BFG got clear of them all, and in another couple of minutes, the pack of giants was out of sight over the horizon. Sophie popped her head up from the pocket. I didn't like that, she said. Phew, said the BFG. Few and far between. They was in a nasty mood today, was they not? I is sorry you was having such a whirligig time. No worse than you, Sophie said. Would they ever really hurt you? I isn't ever trusting them, the BFG said. How do they actually catch the humans they eat? Sophie asked. They is just sticking an arm in through the bedroom window and snitching them from their beds, the BFG said. Like you did to me? Ah, but I isn't eating you, the BFG said. How else do they catch them? Sophie asked. Sometimes, the BFG said, they is swimming in from the sea like fishies, with only their heads showing above the water. And then out comes a big hairy hand and grabbles someone off the beach. Children as well? Often chidlers, the BFG said. Little chidlers who is building sandcastles on the beach. That is who the swimming ones are after. Little chidlers is not so tough to eat as an old grandmama, so says the child chewing giant. As they talked, the BFG was galloping fast over the land. Sophie was standing right up in his waistcoat pocket now and holding onto the edge with both hands. Her head and shoulders were in the open and the wind was blowing in her hair. How else do they catch people? She asked. All of them is having their own special way of catching the human being, the BFG said. The meat-dripping giant is preferring to pretend he is a big tree growing in the park. He is standing in the park in the dusky evening, and he is holding great big branches over his head. And there he is waiting until some happy families is coming to have a picnic under the spreading tree. The meat-dripping giant is watching them as they lay out their little picnic. But in the end, it is the meat dripper who is having the picnic. Oh, it's too awful, Sophie cried. The gizzard-gulping giant is a city lover, the BFG went on. The gizzard gulper is lying high up between the roofs of houses in the big cities. He is lying there snuggy as a sniggler and watching the human beings walking on the street below. And when he sees one that looks like it has a wopsy good flavor, he grabs it. He is simply reaching down and snitching it off the street like a monkey taking a nut. He says it is nice to be able to pick and choose it is nice to pick and choose what you is having for your supper. He says it is like choosing from a menu. Don't people see him doing it? Sophie asked. Never is they seeing him. Do not forget it is dusky dark at this time. Also, the gizzard gulper has a very fast arm. His arm is going up and down quicker than Squinkers. But if all these people are disappearing every night, surely there must be some sort of outcry, Sophie said. The world is a whopping big place, the BFG said. It has 100 different countries. The giants is clever. They is careful not to be skedaddling off to the same country too often. They is also switch fiddling around. Even so, Sophie said, do not forget, the BFG said, that human beings is disappearing everywhere all the time, even without the giants is guzzling them up. Human beings is killing each other much quicker than the giants is doing it. But they don't eat each other, Sophie said. Giants isn't eating each other either, the BFG said, nor is giants killing each other. Giants is not very lovely, but they is not killing each other. Nor is crocodile dillies killing other crocodile dillies, nor is pussycats killing pussycats. They kill mice, Sophie said. Ah, but they is not killing their own kind, the BFG said. Human beings is the only animal that is killing their own kind. Don't poisonous snakes kill each other? Sophie asked. She was searching desperately for another creature that behaved as badly as the human. Even poisonous snakes is never killing each other, the BFG said, nor is the most fearsome creatures like tigers and rhinoceroses. None of them is ever killing their own kind. Have you ever thought about that? Sophie kept silent. I is not understanding human beings at all, the BFG said. You is a human being, and you is saying it is grizzling and horgust for giants to be eating human beings. Right or left? He means like right or wrong, but he's saying like right or left. Right, Sophie said. But human beings is squishing each other all the time, the BFG said. They is shooting guns and going up in aeroplanes and dropping their bombs on each other. Human beings is always killing other human beings. He was right. Of course he was right, and Sophie knew it. She was beginning to wonder whether humans were actually any better than giants. Even so, she said, defending her own race, I think it's rotten that those foul giants go off every night to eat humans. Humans have never done them any harm. That is what the little piggy-wig is saying every night, the BFG answered. He is saying, I has never done any harm to the human being, so why should he be eating me? Oh dear, Sophie said. The human being is making rules to suit themselves, the BFG went on, but the rules they is making do not suit the little piggy winkles. Am I right or am I left? Right, Sophie said. Giants is also making rules. Their rules is not suiting the human beings. Everybody is making his own rules to suit himself. So the BFG is saying, that people eat, he's saying like pigs, like we talked about with Charlotte's Web. We eat ham. A lot of you probably on Easter will be eating ham, bacon, pork, that sort of thing, all come from pigs. So he's saying, pigs never do anything harmful to us, but we, eat them, was what the BFG was trying to say. Okay, where was I? Okay. But you don't like it that those beastly giants are eating humans every night, do you? Sophie asked. I do not, the BFG answered firmly. One right is not making two lefts. Is you quite cozy down there in my pocket? I'm fine, Sophie said. Then suddenly, once again, the BFG went into that magical top gear of his. He began hurtling forward with phenomenal leaps. His speed was unbelievable. The landscape became blurred, and again Sophie had to duck down out of the whistling gale to save her head from being blown off her shoulders. She crouched in the pocket and listened to the wind screaming past. It came knifing in through the tiny peephole in the pocket and whooshed around her like a hurricane. But this time the BFG didn't stay in top gear long. So top gear was, remember when he first had taken her, he was running so fast it was almost like hyperspeed, just so fast. So he's doing that again. It seemed as though he had some barrier to cross, a vast mountain perhaps, or an ocean, or a great desert. But having crossed it, he once again slowed down to his normal gallop, and Sophie was able to pop her head up and look out once more at the view. She noticed immediately that they were now in an altogether paler country. The sun had disappeared above a film of vapor. The air was becoming cooler every minute. The land was flat and treeless, and there seemed to be no color in it at all. Every minute the mist became thicker, the air became colder still, and everything became paler and paler until soon there was nothing but gray and white all around them. They were in a country of swirling mists and ghostly vapors. So it's very like kind of cloudy where they are. And remember, they were traveling to Dream Country. Okay. I just read the part. Okay. There was some sort of grass underfoot, but it was not green. It was ashy gray. There was no sign of a living creature and no sound at all except for the soft thud of the BFG's footsteps as he hurtled on through the fog. Suddenly he stopped. "We is here at last," he announced. He bent down and lifted Sophie from his pocket and put her on the ground. She was still in her nightie and her feet were bare. She shivered and stared around her at the swirling mists and ghostly vapors. "Where are we?" she asked. "We is in dream country," the BFG said. "This is where all dreams is beginning." So remember, he has his net and they're going to hopefully catch some dreams. And that's what the next chapter will be about. So the next chapter is just called Dream Catching. And like I said, I will share this chapter after April break. So that Monday after. And I'll sort of review, what had been happening so far when we continue. So, all right. So I will see all of you then. After break, I hope you enjoy your week off from doing school stuff. I know it kind of feels like we've been off already, which is a little bit weird, but so I'll see you all then, and I hope you have a great Easter. Bye, everybody.